officials, the big Paharma companies.
That was
So
that was perfect timing because I had not hit the enter yet for the title to bring on Hawks Mustard Seeds 25 and Facebook. You said it
perfect.
just before. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. And
It,
the thing is that
yeah.
in itself it was in fact a bioweapon, and I cannot argue with that. The only thing is that unfortunately, both Facebook and YouTube go by the guidelines that are established by the WHO. And that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doesn't it's something about that doesn't sit right because of the fact that we're in America, okay? And both of those platforms are based out of America. And I would think that they would go off of what the NIH and the CDC would
Hmm.
deem as the thing
Well,
there.
during the time, they actually were going by the CDC, um, and that was a huge problem for
Oh
us
yeah.
as well.
Oh,
And,
absolutely, absolutely.
um,
But
y-
they gave us so much information or so much ammunition, Dave.
yeah,
If you think, I mean, if we really think about it, by taking people down like they did was
yeah,
actually the biggest catalyst to more people waking up to, okay, wait a second. If this person is disappearing, what exactly was he saying that they got upset about? And people began to realize that it's the exact opposite of what the CDC NIH says, and
hmm,
started paying attention to what we were
right.
saying,
So,
and it's so. But go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say, just for people to understand what we're talking about, how many of your channels have I gotten terminated?
Four in a total. Four in a total. Two priorly that I was just showing what your streams live. I was simulcasting you, and then the other two we were live and you did things. it's
I did
you know,
things.
it's
I did things.
but that's okay. It's the fact of the matter is, again, it boiled down to people seeing um a channel get taken down because of the fact of just one particular thing being said,
Hmm.
and then they have to go back and they're asking questions. They're asking why everybody else, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And this is I'm not going to say it's a coincidence because it's not, because the exact same thing happens with the content that you guys are covering right now. Okay. Talking
Yep.
about the law of war manual, things like that. You'll
Yep.
start seeing community notes coming up, people who've never served in the military coming on and saying da 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 da, and not having any clue what the hell they're talking about.
Yep.
And getting things taken down because of that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that takes away from our viewers more information that we're trying to share with them, trying to teach them. But the fortunate thing is it brings out the conversation of where are these people going? Why are they being removed? Why is this channel down? And Slow Country's experienced it. You've experienced it. I've experienced it. Script Keeper's experienced it. I think me and Script Keeper are probably running neck and neck with how many channels since we started doing this that we've had taken down.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
figure I'm on 25 now on YouTube. That's
Yep.
80 times that I've been taken down off of there. Never mind being banned from Twitter for 3.5 years. And I still haven't been able to get those accounts back. I luckily got to start this new one because I got a new phone. So a new phone number kind of saved my life. You know,
Are
and
we
the
on
thing is,
25 right now, by the way? Are we on
yeah,
25?
we're up on
Okay.
25 right now, and also on Facebook. And hey, Ronnie, oh my Lord, I hope you're doing well, brother. I just seen
Oh,
him in the
yeah.
chat.
How's Ronnie doing?
He hasn't been feeling the greatest, but he's battling lung cancer, and he's
Yeah.
doing his absolute best. He gets on and does as many shows as he can, each week. It's a lot of people worry about him, but I think he's got this pretty much hand in hand. He knows
Good.
what he's got to do for his health wise, and he's
Good.
just plugging along.
All right, Ronnie, sending you love, brother.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Man.
All right. Let's Slow get back. Thank you, Hawk, for all that. That was good little segue there. I'll pull up the let me see, which one did I have? I think I had this one up, right? Yeah.
The one question I want to ask Slow before you guys get back into this, did you do a side-by-side comparisons of the older Law of War manual and this one to see if there were any variations in this?
I didn't. As a matter of fact, when I went to look for it, I couldn't find it in any of my hard drives.
Yeah.
Or even online. Yeah. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I know I downloaded it.
Yeah, the and Hawk, how long ago were we talking about the Law of War manual? When was it? And then
that was in January of 2018. Wow. We were talking about the Law of War manual. Vincent Kennedy in chat, myself, you, Todd, and Cindy, as well as there was another guy who was really, really informative. And then he kind of disappeared. I don't remember what his name was, but he was really good at pulling stuff out of the Law of War manual. I believe he was retired Navy. But he was going through an illness at that time, and I
remember. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm forgetting as well. God bless him.
All right. For those of you on Facebook and YouTube, welcome. Sorry, you're getting pulled in about 30 minutes into their podcast already. So I apologize for that. You may want to go back and watch that either through X, or I believe you're also on Rumble too, right, Dave?
Yeah. Rumble, the indoctrination, no space between the and indoctrination on Rumble, folks. Please, when you go on Rumble, please click the notifications, because many of you, I am sure, you probably don't have my notifications on with X because of the amount of posts that I do on X. But the good news about being a few of those, and the good news about being on the indoctrination on Rumble and clicking that notification and that like and follow is that you only get notified when I go live.
Yep.
Okay. So
and mods, if you can drop links for both of those, for both the indoctrination on Rumble, his X account, also do Ronnie's as well. But if you can get those out for people so that they can go back and see the first 30 minutes of this. It was very in depth so far, and we're getting ready to jump right back into it.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
And Dave, I sent you a link in the private chat, and I'm going to have you open that after I go into this real quick.
Okay.
Here's where I talk about occupation.
Okay, cool. Go ahead. Take it away, brother.
All right. So part 4. Let's fast forward to January 6, 2021. And after the government, or I would define them as the occupation, has arrested a lot of folks that they have determined were part of the Capitol building shenanigans, yet on multiple occasions have been called out by numerous others for having planted people in the crowd, which actually inflamed an already hot situation. Now, the folks that were arrested, some took deals through what I believe to be coercion. Others, however, have not been released or afforded their constitutional right to due process. I would say that this would make them essentially hostages of the occupation. And this is where that hostages thing comes in.
Yep. Yeah. That's unbelievable. You want me to go to that next link or back into the?
No, I need to have you pull up the 11.6, the hostages one,
Okay.
under part 4.
Okay. Bear with me here. Here we go. Oh.
Oh, actually, that one would
sorry.
work too. Underneath the final part. Yeah, underneath of it, there's a court document there.
This one here.
Yep, that one right there.
This is, yeah. Explain this one. This is good.
Okay, so when I say occupation, all right, the Colorado Supreme Court, I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was something that they did by accident. But if you look at the highlighted section right here, the very last sentence of paragraph 9, President Biden now occupies the office of the president. I would take that as an occupation clause.
So this is a great catch by you, because that's a very odd way to say that President Biden is the president of the United States.
Right. Because if we look at paragraph 8, when they're talking about President Trump, he served in that role. So if they were going to use the same language, why wasn't it President Biden now serves in the office of the president?
Right. Maybe that's because Colorado knows he ain't serving anybody.
And make sure you cover where our hostage conversation yesterday, Slow Country, and my response to you about America was.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, Hawk came out and he just said, and I agree with him 100%, it's not just the January 6 folks that are being held hostage. It's the entire country. The entire country.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point, Hawk.
Well, you think we've got occupation forces coming in over the border. Okay. We can't do anything about it. That border remains open. We can't do anything about it. Nobody can do anything about getting it closed. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an occupation. That's not just an invasion. That's an occupation. Okay. And basically every American is being held hostage right now. Through the administration, and it's got to change. It's got to change quickly. People are getting tired of this. I'm telling you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. All right. And do you want me to go with the?
If we can go back to part 4, so that way I can finish out part 4, and then I'll pull up, or I'll have you pull up the picture of it. With that being said, if we look at 7 in the screenshot below, this would mean that the occupation 1 seized, detained, and are holding these folks as hostages. Number 2, look at the injuries and deaths that were inflicted on January 6, 2021, and the continued detainment of said persons.
Now you're talking about B, not 2, 7B, right?
Yeah, I 2 points on here, but yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And if we look at C, where this is where the coercion comes in with the deals and testimonies in the sham January 6th committee.
Yeah.
Isn't this interesting how it links up almost perfectly?
Yes. Yeah, it is, without question. I think this is what Q is alluding to, without question. And the law of war manual, there is, like Hawk was talking about, matching it up. There is a lot of similarities. Just off the top of my head, excuse me, you guys can add or detract. But it had to do with foreign occupation. foreign occupation. That was the main crux of that through line and of the Law of War Manual. And that's when we were discussing, back in the day, we were discussing the fence around the Capitol. To me, I remember tweeting something to the effect of that feeling you have when you realize that the fence around the Capitol isn't meant to keep people out. It's like a cage to keep people in. Now, did it keep people in? No, I think it was symbolic, because there really wasn't a threat, okay, to the Capitol, and there wasn't a threat to the inauguration. There wasn't a threat on J6 that wasn't coordinated by the feds. So, but that was the continuation of that narrative, right? And so for us, looking back at the Law of War Manual, we were going to the 11.3 through, I think it goes up to 11.5.
Yeah, it was 11.4 and 11.5. Yep.
11.4 and 11.5. And it was about occupation. And we were talking about DC and how they've occupied, the Congress and the occupation of the president's office.
Well, the occupation began in 1871, and
Sure.
then the rest of DC began its occupation in 1913 with the bringing in of the Federal Reserve. And once they gained monetary control, then they moved a certain number of people out of Washington D.C. and a totally different class of people in. And being a foreign country, this is part of it. Is D.C. is foreign land. Yes. It is not the United States of America, other than the United States of America Corporation. So them being a foreign country, we have been under occupation, since the 1871. So it's understanding for people to understand that this, what we're seeing today is, yes, we're watching that system fall apart. We're watching the old guard be replaced with the new guard, so on and so forth. But the fact is that we have been under occupation in this country for over 100 years.
Yeah. And do you guys remember when I went live from the Capitol? It was my first time back to the Capitol since J6, right? Yep. And I'm driving down Massachusetts Avenue, and passing all the embassies. It's Embassy Row. It was also where Obama had his home after he left office, and moved in Valerie Jarrett, by the way. So one of the things that came to mind, and then came to mind, is that anywhere in the world, if you step into a U.S. embassy, you're on U.S. soil, right? So all those embassies were Saudi Arabia soil, Iran soil, Russian soil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as you go down along. And then I was following, some cars with DC plates, which one of the DC plates is what's the moniker without representation? DC. They say something about that they have no taxation. Thank you.
Taxation without representation.
Exactly. Right. And so I got to thinking, I'm like, well, wait a minute. We know that DC is like the Vatican and the City of London and the District of Columbia. Those are the trilateral. Those are the trifecta of the entities that control the world, but are not in Rome, are not in England, are not in the United States. They are their own sovereign entities. They have their own police force. They have their own, et cetera, et cetera. So, and so I went to the Capitol and I discussed that this is, foreign land. And that's how they're able to circumvent the Constitution. And all these decisions obviously are being made with the certainly with and in the Capitol, especially going to war, sending you two gentlemen off to war. That decision was made in the Capitol building, voted on inside the heart of the owl of Moloch. And that is something that has always really, really bothered me, because it's like there's every sacrifice, every person that died, every man that you fought with that died on that battlefield were absolutely sacrifices to Moloch, because that's where that decision was made. And it looks like this. And many of you have already seen this. This is the shape. The architect Lafont created this whole area, this whole Capitol area, and none of it makes sense. Like the way the roads go, the way they crisscross. It's not like New York, which is a northwest grid, north-southwest grid. This is Moloch. This is what sent you all to war. And so all those deaths on the battlefield were absolutely a sacrifice to Moloch. All right, slow. Good stuff, brother. Keep going. Let me pull back up.
I did a screen share with you real quick. I want to point something out to everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
Title 32 is the CFR title for national defense.
Did you share that in private?
No, it's up on it. It's to actually share my screen and show everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
Title 32, like I said, is the national defense title. Now, what's interesting is under Chapter 1.
It's not up yet.
It's underneath this screen that we're looking at. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got to do that. I'm not used to other. Yeah, okay, there you go, brother. Thanks.
So if we look at Chapter 1 in Subchapter A, acquisition, all right. Subchapter B is reserved, which is where sections 9 through 20 are. So you can't even pull those up. Just like closures and realignment, that's not in there either. Or environmental laboratory accreditation program you can find, but 189 to 90 is gone.
Interesting. What do you make of that?
Well, that tells me that it's specifically meant for the Secretary of Defense and maybe JAG, for one thing. But criminal court. So very interesting. Very interesting.
Especially when you've seen that before and now it's gone. And we've seen it.
Well,
have you?
Those, what I pulled up and put in my post, all those are like little snippets from it. But they're not actually, you can't access them from the CFR website. So it's almost like somebody took the book, put it on a scanner, and just scanned in the page, is what it seems like.
Interesting. Which, by the way, is harder to search, right? If you've got just PDFs coming up, it's hard to search those PDFs as opposed to HTML language. So this is 11:06. You want to go to 5, or are we still on 6?
Well, I was done with
Where's-
I was done with 6 or 4. Or, I'm sorry, 4. I was done with 4.
Okay.
But 5, I just asked a couple of questions I think everybody needs to be asking themselves at this point with seeing this information. With all this being said, can everyone agree that there is a deep state and we the people are in conflict with it? And 2, so with this conflict, can everyone agree that the law sections set forth in the previous post above, that we're being shown what serious laws, along with constitutional laws, that the deep state is willing to break?
Yeah.
So,
And
I mean,
we're seeing it firsthand, and we're experiencing it, right? We're,
Right.
different people have to experience it. It's, it's, some people aren't ready to hear the truth until it lands in their lap in a way that is very uncomfortable. And then they get involved. That's why Q said only at the precipice will people find the will to engage, and only at the and you can't tell them, you must show them. Mr. Sciatica, by the way, at Kevin Rotello, please follow him, guys. He's the biggest pain in your ass. He's doing. This is an OG Snedhead, by the way, and he's dropping just dank memes on the Gill front. And speaking of not doing anything, until it drops in your lap, I'll give you an example. Nick Alvear was still on board with Michelle Moore and Gill after my expose, but he didn't watch it. But when Gill attacked his buddy Script Keeper, he stepped up. He said, no, that's not cool, man. He stood up for his friend, but it was almost like he needed that to drop in his lap, right, before he did something. And I just thought of that, what Q says about that as an example. And so at any rate, and he apologized to me, and I thought that was pretty cool. That here he's like, okay, now this guy's going after my friend. Let me look at this a little bit deeper. And that's the way we're all kind of waking up to various things. Some people aren't awake until they're challenged by the border. But yeah. So the reason why I wanted to bring up Kevin's post here is he says, I agree with you, Slow Country. The question now is, where do we go from here? And Slow said, just some food for thought. I thought all of this is relevant to what we've been seeing. We had to see that they were knowingly breaking the law. We had to see that they weren't in line with the people and the plan. I absolutely agree. So any more thoughts on that?
I think that's where this Flynn network comes in. All the podcasters that have surrounded him and basically have been utilized by them. Mikey B says, Wayne Willits, another one, directing and leading a narrative that is not always conducive. I know they're riled up right now because it's raining outside, so they don't really have anything to do.
It's hilarious.
I put a challenge in the in the chat. I said, I dare you not to watch the puppies.
Yeah, right.
But the concept of watching what happened with Script Keeper. Mike went hard and heavy at him, and basically went off of Phil Godslewski's supposed information in regards to Script, accusing him of being a prior drug dealer. The guy's never had anything to do with that. He's worked his whole life, raised his family, and basically, He's his content is direct to the point, you know, constantly direct to the point. He gets his message across. His content is always solid. I've never seen him, you know, go screwy on anything. And, you know, and he's showing receipts while he's doing it. And, you know, for Mike to attack him was, to me, was way out of line, you know, when Script was sitting back just watching. You know, he's kind of in the middle, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to see where this goes. But the direct attack at him, you know, put him in full activation mode, and Mike has been, you know, bashing him, you know, left and right and everything else. And the thing is whether Michelle has anything to do with that or not, you know, Michelle does, she does some great interviews, no doubt about it. Okay. She's a great interviewer. And she gets really great questions. She did a thing on the Catholic Church, Dave, you know, just about a week ago. Great interview, you know. And you know, you know how that directly affects and coincides with my story, you know. So to see somebody else finally talking about that, you know, was a good positive thing. But you know, this you know, I look at it like this stuff, he's had this stuff for 17 years. Okay. He's been battling this stuff for 17 years. Okay. And honestly, the Pandora's box that Q is talking about has nothing to do with his papers. Okay. It has nothing to do with it. Okay. And I think that it is a very, very big misdirection, leading people into falling into a complacency of believing that this one guy has everything that will save America. Well, you want to know what? Q told us that we have it all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and to me, Q's got a hell of a lot more credibility than Mike Gill does.
Yeah. And he asked me, what did Q say about me? And I was like, nothing. You're not a fact. You're not a factor. Now, you know, him calling out Script for dealing drugs was like, you know, which Script was never arrested for any of that, or nope. You know,
and that rumor started with Godlewski.
Yeah, no basis whatsoever, and it was Godlewski deflecting, you know, all the reality, all the truth that was coming after him. But also, what's important to understand is all the cartel members, the 3 cartel members that Mike was putting up, actually 4 total that he was putting up on his billboards. One of those guys dealt drugs in the 80s. Like literally that was his evidence. And that's why he never presented evidence in court, because he didn't have any. And that's also why he was never offered the 50 million, because the people he was fighting against, they had everything. He owed the IRS money. He owed the Department of Revenue, New Hampshire Department of Revenue money. He owed the Banking Commission money on his illegality that he was conducting with the mortgage specialists. He owed, you know, his lawyer's money. He owed American Express money. I mean, this guy owes more money, and what, they're going to offer him 50 million. And nobody has refuted the evidence I put forth, by the way, with any evidence, unless you guys have seen something out there that even shows it close. And the fact that Michelle doesn't cover any of it and doesn't look it up herself tells me everything I need to know about Michelle. I don't care if she interviews the Pope himself and he admits to the corruption within the Catholic Church. Okay. It's like she is, and that was important information, and we covered that as well. And it is good to see people doing that. But you know, until she addresses those questions, until Gill addresses those questions that I posed, you can't move forward. I'm sorry, you can't. You just can't move forward. It's a full
it's
stop.
asking the question is that particular cartel there in New Hampshire, what does that have to do with us getting our country back?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
it can be a great topic. It can be a great story. It can be a great news line. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, what does that have to do with getting our country back? Absolutely nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
If you are interested in on that topic, and I'll let you finish, if you are interested in what happened in New Hampshire 17 years ago, have at it. And is it connected? Not to the Pandora Papers, not at all. I proved that. He was sidling up next to them for that.
Yeah. Now, who are the guys who actually hold the papers?
It's the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, and I connected with the editor of that whole organization, Fergus Shea. Shill, and he was the one that told me they've never heard of him. They've never shared documents with Mike Gill, and also there was no connection to New Hampshire. They showed connection to South Dakota, I think North Carolina, et cetera. Like a handful of states, none in New Hampshire. And that was verified by New Hampshire Public Radio that Mike actually uses as a source to which completely shows to me that that he is being deceptive with the information that he's providing. Because people know that if you put out, a document salad, a toss document salad, like I've been calling it, people are overwhelmed, and they think, well, he wouldn't be putting this information out there if it wasn't for real. And he even shared the article and the audio of New Hampshire Public Radio when they flat out said there was no connection from the Pandora Papers to New Hampshire. And he uses that as evidence, as a tie between the two. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, this con is amazing. I got to show you guys something real quick. That's I think very important, because Hawk, Slow, we're going to reveal on this show what exactly is in Pandora's box. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. I love it. Mr. Sciatica strikes again. You got to turn on the audio, Dave.
Thank you. All right, where the hell's the audio?
It's when you click you click present, and then you pick which one, and then you got to remember that little thing there that says.
Oh, you know what I got to do? I got to do, bro. I gotta do it. I jumped over to Chrome. That's the problem. I need to do it in Brave. Here we go.
Share screen again.
And by the way, he is.
You have to share screen again, Dave.
Yeah, he shared out the show you guys did yesterday as well.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Okay, let me do this. All right, here we go, Mr. Sciatica, folks.
I'm gonna open it.
Who's in the box?
Put your gun down, David.
What's in the fucking box?
David.
No!
I'm gonna open
it.
There you have it. The mystery is solved.
He's been doing some good ones. He came out with one, I would say, within about 12 hours after Mike Gill attacked Script Keeper, and Script Keeper responded, and he came out with that wrestling one.
Oh, that was great.
The steel chair, and it was playing whack-a-mole with a steel chair. It was crazy
You know-
hilarious. I was like, this is
I got to tell you, about that. He actually did that with me first, whacking all those guys with a steel chair.
Yeah.
But he did it when I was doing my research, and I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to take the high road here. I'm not going to put these memes out. And it was, and so I just didn't go with it. Like I didn't feel comfortable like doing that. But since the vehemence that I've seen from that side of things, it's just, I mean, it's next level. I haven't experienced it. You guys know I called out, a lot of different people. And I got a lot of, pushback on a lot of different people. And nothing like the Gil shills. Nothing like it. It's just next level. I mean, what Crash is doing is just ridiculous. Doubling, tripling down with zero evidence, calling me a liar, calling me a snake. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Let me show you one more.
and if Dave's deep state, if he's a deep state operative, I'm the flipping Pope.
Well,
I mean, it's that simple. That clear of a comparison. Uh-oh, what's this one? I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen this one yet.
Okay. And there you have it. There's another one. The text that he's been sending, I guess Nick Alviar have been kind of drunk texting and just, very, but the guy's going down. It's like, you just can't move forward. I mean, have you seen me do anything like what I did with him before, Hawk? Slow?
Yeah, well, I've seen you go after a couple people, kind of just, but it was more of a, no, here is the documentation that you should have looked at, kind of thing. So you were extremely respectful, and even in this one here, you were respectful. It's you were still giving him credit in many ways in the video that you put out. It's that you understood that, the circumstances, the situations, everything all the way down the line. And, sometimes I look at it like this. If you're not capable of taking constructive criticism, then this is 100% the wrong game to be in. Okay. Because, we're not just fighting for, our own lives. We're fighting to help everybody learn everything possible so that everybody can fight for their lives. Being a teacher and lifting people up with information, okay, and receipts on top of that is what is going to build the best army worldwide. Okay. Yeah. And we, the people, are that army. And being armed with information, as well as all the other things that we, that we acquire and have available to us, we are a force to reckon with. And if we're not willing to take that constructive criticism, okay, then this is definitely the game that we should not be in. We should step out and leave it to the guys who it can be more professional about it, But the fact of the matter is that so many of these people have come out. We were talking about Phil back in 2020. Okay. And, it was, and when his first claim of being part of the Q team was published. Okay. We talked about that in your chat, on the indoctrination. And if I'm not mistaken, you were on a sewing channel on YouTube at that time.
No, it was one of the listeners. I think I had lost my 5th channel or something like that. And one of the listeners had a quilting channel that she gave me. and so it was Julie's quilting channel or something like that.
Yeah, Joanne's quilting channel, I think.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah.
It was. I remember. It's yeah. You know, and the thing is that listen, 80 to 85% of the information that people are giving you is 100% accurate, but there's 15% BS.
Yeah.
And you guys have to recognize that 15% BS. Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Cuba, what do you say to your fans?
Well,
Go ahead, Slow.
Yeah.
crashed, right?
Yeah.
She had said something, and I responded with, "Look, I'm not saying that there is no evidence or that he don't have any. I'm saying I've never seen it, so I can't definitively say anything. As to what Mike Gill is talking about." I said, like I said, I haven't seen anything. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying I haven't seen it. And
I haven't
you
seen
should see
Now, I've seen things, but I haven't seen anything that is going to help us save our country.
No.
Yeah.
No. And go ahead, Slow.
And oh boy, the shills just start coming out. Posting little things here and there. Well, maybe you should watch his videos. I have watched his videos. I haven't seen anything substantive in his videos.
Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of Crash and Burn, that I call her now, she's really digging deep now. Now she's going after my Hollywood career, my amazing Hollywood career. And here I am at the premiere of the Standing Still Party. And I didn't even know, like, you don't dress up like this for premiere parties in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like I thought, oh, let me dress up. No, this is good for, New York City, but, not in Hollywood. And this is my buddy, Samson. We're one of my close friends. He, so this Standing Still, I found, so she's bringing this up and she says, ask him how much he made in Hollywood. Right. Okay, so that's an interesting question. So, and this is me with James Van Der Beek. On this movie, I was paid $7,500 for introducing the producers of this movie to somebody who who had the money. I was paid $7,500 for this movie. It starred Mina Savari, Colin Hanks, Tom Hanks' son, Amy Smart, and this gentleman, James Van Der Beek. Now, Van Der Beek was famous for doing, what do you call it, Dawson's Creek. And this was after he finished Dawson's Creek. And so when my friends, the producers, attached him to this script, there were a lot of actors that wanted to do a movie with James Van Der Beek because they've been following him on Dawson's Creek all this time. Let me tell you about this guy. This guy, I just met his wife, maybe a month ago. They live here in Austin. And they're friends of ours from LA. Our daughters went to school together, and I met her. Lovely, lovely human being. They have 5 children. They're homesteading here in Austin. Like, this is like, you don't get better quality than this dude right here. Okay. And so, and by the way, I never even showed up on set on this movie. I just went to the premiere. Because I wasn't needed. Like, I don't need to show up and pretend like I know all these people and be a big shot and I was executive producer on this movie. So wow, Crash, well done. Holy cow, you've found me out.
I used to share her content.
Yep. Oh, she's,
I used to share. I used to share her videos and content. She was putting out some really good informative videos. She was doing some great commentary to news clips and things like that. But, you know, and it's a shame. It's a shame. I really enjoyed following her. And now I can't stand to look at her, you know. So, you know, the first video I think I saw of her when she was accused of being a Fed. Okay. That she was a Fed plant and that she was using filters or something like that. You know, to make her videos, you know, to make her look younger or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And this is the thing is that, you know, when you're doing journalism, you have to have an objective outlook. You have to, you know, you have to take a step back and you have to look at both sides. And if you're not willing to do that, then the only thing that you're going to do is deceive your public.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
No. And that's exactly what's going on, because you guys know me. I'm looking for truth here, and at some point it's no longer truth. And by the way, 200 shows I did before people were asking me, how can we support you so you can do more content? 200 shows I did before I ever dropped a PayPal link, which, by the way, I'm now terminated from. And I put up links for donations because this is how I support myself. So I put up donations, but I don't pretend I don't. I don't say I don't, which is what Gil was doing. And the only reason I brought up his GoFundMe campaigns. So very, very odd behavior when you have to, you know, it's the ego that forces people to go against their, you know, situation and defend the indefensible, or not even answer my questions. Like I'm not telling you to leave Gil. I'm not telling you to head for the hills. I'm saying ask these questions. And she introduced me to Gil, and I showed proof of that when she was challenging that yesterday. In a chat, I had put in, he had said something about how he can't get anybody to listen to him or something like that. And I said, I'll give you a platform on my channel. I said that in a chat in one of his tweets. Never heard back from him. And then when he said Trump took a deal, I called bullshit, and I dropped the link. POTUS is 100% insulated, and he blocked me.
And you got blocked. Yep. And the thing is, that's the thing that I've noticed is that substantial questions by people in her chat end up getting blocked.
Yeah.
Instead of them going after getting the answer to that question, people are getting blocked.
Yeah. And Michelle's blocking, Gil's blocking, and that's no way to engage. That's just not what you should be looking for. Hey, Slow, I want to hear some more from you, because I know we lose you here shortly, right?
Yeah. Well, I can come back. I just gotta go and get the kiddos for school.
Right. So we can come back to this later. I'm also doing a show tonight with Oliver, Sir Censorlot, and that's going to be good, because he's been doing some really awesome decodes lately, and so we're gonna talk about that. And one of them actually led to the meeting of Donald Trump that he had in New York. I think we're going to do that about 9:30 Eastern tonight, or 9:30 Central. I think 9:30 Eastern. I'm not sure, but check the click on the bell notifications, folks, so you can tap into that. Slow, you had another one that you dropped to me. This was the document Oh, that's the Colorado document.
That was
You
the
already
Colorado
covered that.
document. The one that, if you can pull it up, would be fantastic. Is the link that for the DoD Law of War Manual, the updated one, 2023.
Okay, which
It
was
might be the
that?
first link I dropped you.
Okay. No, that's CFR still.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
All right, I'll drop it to you in the private chat here. There we go.
Got it. All right. Okay, where do you want me to go there?
Page 814. And down at the bottom, there's a little page number thing you can actually click on and do it that way too. If you exit out of the search,
Okay.
down at the bottom of the
Oh, I
page,
see.
yeah,
Okay. And
you can just type. Yeah, you can just type in
Yeah.
page
813. Yeah.
814.
14. Okay. All right. There we go.
So it's funny that 11.6 mentions HUMA. What are the first four letters in humane treatment?
Interesting. HUMA. Hold on. It didn't go to that page, brother. Let me get there. 814.
You're going
It's
up.
not the same. The pages are different. So is it 814 on the bottom of the page?
No, it's actual page 814 of 1254.
All right. So is it?
You're going up in pages. You're not going down. So you got to scroll up.
All right. Let me try that again. I jumped the gun there. Okay. Here it is. Sorry. All right.
What do we have there? Protection
Humane.
of the population of an occupied territory.
Yeah. 11.6. Yep. This is why we went here. But how interesting. Humane treatment, the population of an occupied territory.
Which begs the question that Sir Oliver Pollock had brought up a while back. Is HUMA actually an undercover white hat?
Yeah, he did pose that the last show we did, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was very interesting. And we had proven, Todd and I had proven that, that that Huma and Hillary's Twitter accounts were definitely white hat controlled.
Oh,
Without
absolutely.
question.
Now, if we can go down to page 815, the next page,
Okay.
there's a couple of things here that are really, really interesting. So if we go to 11.6.2.1, prohibition on compelling inhabitants of an occupied territory to swear allegiance to a hostile state. It is forbidden to compel the inhabitants of occupied territory to swear allegiance to the hostile state. So we have to ask ourselves, who is the hostile state in the circumstances we're talking about on this stream? Okay. And we also have to ask, who are the inhabitants of the occupied territory? I would take that to mean us.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the Pledge of Allegiance. Wasn't that in the news under Obama when they took One Nation Under God out? No, it said originally it was I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. That was in 1892. And then it was changed in 23, just basic change. And then in 1954, in response to the communist threat of the times, President Eisenhower encouraged Congress to add the words under God, creating the 31-word pledge as we say today. Bellamy, who was the original writer of this document, Francis Bellamy, his daughter objected to this alteration. But today it reads, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, I just thought of that with the pledge.
Right.
It's or to the allegiance. It's forbidden to compel the inhabitants of occupied territory to swear allegiance to the hostile state. Which they do with their laws that we are forced to follow. Unbelievable.
And then there is one more part that, Dave, I talked to you about it yesterday, and you were like, what? It kind of took you by surprise that it was in there.
And we're going back to the DOD law of war,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Page 816.
Here we go. Yes.
The second paragraph right here. The occupying power may not enter into any special agreements that would adversely affect the situation of protected persons as defined by the Geneva Convention, nor restrict the rights that the Geneva Convention confers upon them. I take that to say no deals.
Yep. Yeah. This is what blew my mind. And this goes back to Gil, who claimed Trump, claims that everyone's for Flynn except him, and he's pro-Trump, yet he's the one that came out and emphatically said that Trump took a deal. Box number 2, by the way. Okay, that's what he said. Box number 1, number 2, number 3 with Jaco, and I think it was box number 2 that said that he took a deal. And I'm sorry, that doesn't fly with me. And that's why I called bullshit, and that's why he blocked me. And here's where it says in the Q drops, with all these people, the deep state behind bars, because once again, as I said and as Hawk said, Q said, we have it all. Okay. No deals. No deals. No deals. We are under attack, war, which took us to the Law of War Manual and the CFR as well. No deals. No deals. So it mentions under attack. It mentions all the language that we just went through slow with you. No deals. No deals. No escape. Trust the plan. No deals. We work for you. We listen to you. Play the game with us. No deals. No deals. And Trump's attached to that no deals. Okay? He doesn't need any deals to get out of these court cases that Gil told us he needed. He's exposing all these people.
And he stated many times, especially for specific crimes, no deals.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I just
by
want
the
to
way, go ahead.
Make this known. All right. So I think now this is just my perception of things, right? No deals, right? So if Trump were to take the deals, that would open up a Pandora's box of what they can do later on as far as their opponents, what they could pull on them, because that sets a precedent. Well, we can just charge them with this, and they're going to take the deal so that way they don't get dragged through the mud anymore.
Well, this whole government, this whole infiltration of the republic for which it stands, the flag stands, this has been an infiltration because of deals. Because if you do what we tell you, we won't release this video we have of you violating a child. That's how they've controlled media. That's how they've controlled the both Hollywood, the news. That's how they've controlled all these politicians across the board. Deals, treason at highest levels, foreign agents within our government, highest levels. The puppet masters have been removed. All vehicles of delivery removed. Strings cut. That was Saudi Arabia. Seventh floor, which was the deep state, the State Department is no more. FBI, State Department. We see all. We hear all. The hunt continues. Prison, death, class, Gitmo. Red, red, Iron Eagle. Red, red. Wow. Okay. That's interesting because this just popped up today. Was it today? Where is it? No. Somebody posted it. Let me find it. Darn it.
Oh, yes. Sir Oliver. Red Cross is mentioned in here too.
Oh, right.
And so is the Order of the Red Crescent and the Red Lion. And there was something else. So, yes. But hey, I will be back, Dave. I got to run and pick up the kiddos.
Hey,
So-
man. I just want to say thanks for bringing it, brother. That was really great stuff and some great digs, some great research on your part, man. You know, you're one of these guys that talks softly and carries a big ass stick, brother. And this was a big ass stick. So thank you for bringing it today.
Hey, no problem. I'll be back as soon as I get back.
Cool. All right, man. I'll see you.
All right. See ya.
Drive safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. His kids, as all he's got to do is rope them, throw them in the back of the truck, and drive home.
Let me see. I'm pulling up Oliver's. You know what I'm trying to pull up right now, Hawk? It's the and it's not up. It's not up there.
You know,
but,
he's in chat. You should drop the link for him and tell him to get his butt up here.
Oh, you know what? He's driving.
Oh, is he?
Hey, you know what? Let me send it to him. He's driving right now. We're going to do something later, but let me drop
We
him
just
a
can't
link.
talk medical. That's the only thing. We just can't talk
Right.
medical. That's the only thing.
Right. Well, where the heck is that photo? Hold on. Well, let me drop that to him first. Let me invite.
Yeah, I love his breakdowns. He does a great job. I've covered quite a few of his drops
Yep.
in my podcast. You know, he does a great job. And he explains everything out. A couple of times he had some issues with microphone volume and stuff, and he got right on that. He got that fixed, and since then it's you know, we can hear everything he's saying and stuff. So yeah, I love what he puts together. Great content.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me do. I dropped that for you, by the way, Oliver. It's in your messages. Let me see.
Yeah, because even if he's driving, he can, he can still, he
can
can
call
still
in.
join in the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. But
you
it's
always-
basically
Next,
it's basically the picture of he and Raikkonen. He and Raikkonen side by
Yeah.
side, and they're both wearing red t-shirts. We all thought that was kind of very interesting, especially when you've got to drop red like this. There's many connections that we don't know about that that we should. But yeah, I'm not finding it. That's unfortunate. But at any rate, if anybody wants to drop it in the chat that knows what I'm talking about, but it's basically just Flynn and Raikkonen next to each other in red shirts. It's no big deal.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that in my feed before. I think I showed it a couple of days ago. This is the thing. Raikkonen has got he's got some great information. Absolutely no doubt. I'm just I'm a little on the fence there with his this constant promotion of Flynn.
You know what?
We have an objective, and that's to get the guy back in office. That was the best president that we've had in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So I have some. There you go.
This is it. Yeah. But this is funny. It's supposed to be Raikkonen, but script put that dude's head on it from Goonies. But this is like red. I think the issue here is that I haven't watched this, so I won't play it. But I think the issue here is that that if they are connected to J6, which there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of evidence that points in that direction. I'm like I'm kind of, well, let me not get into that too deeply, but that this could be another setup. Ariel talked about this, right? Like he's setting us up instead of going with the Law of War manual, instead of going with the CFRs, instead of going with the CIC, that Trump has a military operation, that there's a military operation going on right now, that they're saying, go be deputized and go arrest these people. And that could be a huge setup. Okay. Because it's supposed to be the military that does it. If the military doesn't do it, the deputized sheriffs, absolutely. But that's kind of dangerous territory there, right? You're kind of getting into very dangerous territory that could be really in a bad way. We are up over, I think we're up over about 1,200 right now across platforms, and I don't think I have all the platforms up that I can see them, but yeah, here we are. What let's see. Yeah, we got 450. Yeah, up almost 1,400. So welcome everybody to the indoctrination. We just finished up with Slow Country doing a great dive. So if you didn't see that, please check that out. It takes us into the Law of War manual and CFR. And now we're joined also with Hawk J. Marsden, Marine vet and puppy handler, puppy wrangler. And we are, we're chatting about things that matter. What do you want to talk about, Hawk? Let's have a quick download.
There were a couple of things that came up on my X feed this morning. There's a lot of altruistic kind of posts going out in regards to frequency. You and I have had, we've talked about frequency, especially regarding like the Healy. That's a frequency, thing. And I've seen some very, very interesting posts in regards to frequency changes, people noticing things. But I'll tell you what, Terrence.
Oh,
Lord,
okay.
I think it's Terrence. Okay.
Oh, hold up.
I'm gonna,
Oliver's with us in the car. Terrence, yeah, he dropped some bombs.
Yeah,
with,
I'm gonna drop it into the private. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link in the private chat for you, Dave.
Terrence Howard.
And this one,
Terrence Howard. There we go. Oliver's with us, brother.
yeah. Okay.
Oliver,
guys?
welcome, brother. How you doing?
Hey,
Doing great, man. On my way down to the city right now. Stop off in Little Italy, get something to eat.
There you go.
Yeah.
nice.
Where's your
I've been there
go-to?
quite a few times. Like,
I love it. Love it there.
yeah, I used to frequent a place called Mama Leone's.
Love it. I'm gonna go to Dominic's if I can get in. If not, I go to Enzo's. If that doesn't work out, I'll just go over to Louis and Ernie's. And Louis and Ernie's, it's over by Fort Schuyler, Drogs Neck, over that way. Country
Yep,
Club,
yep.
not so much Country Club. I think it's called the Schuyler area of the Bronx. Close to Drogs Neck.
I know Dominic's. I don't
Really,
know that one.
really good Italian food. And best pizza you want to have is Louis Ernie's, man. Really good stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, I was
nice.
listening to you guys.
They've been around for about 30, 40 years, something like that, isn't it? Louis and Ernie's.
Yeah, man. Haven't changed a thing. It still looks like it did in the 70s.
Right. You gotta love those old places. They don't change, man.
Best,
Yeah.
man.
There was a place in Queens we used to go called Famiglietti's. Yeah. They ended up moving into the upper New England. They went to Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Shut down their place in New York when Mama Leone's was getting ready to close. Because they used to provide a lot of stuff for Mama Leone's. It was, I loved Mama Leone's. It was hands down the best Italian place in town. But things kind of went downhill the last couple of years after she died and all that. So, but
It always seems to be the case.
So what are you going into the city for? Besides good food,
Trump rally tomorrow.
Awesome.
Oh, that's right.
Awesome.
That's right. Now
AOC said he's like got an ankle monitor. He's confined to the boroughs basically because he's got to be there for the trial, right? And she said the quiet part out loud.
I actually have the clip here for that, Dave. I'll drop that in the down below or in the private chat as well.
Cool.
Before we get
that,
it to me.
The military.
The way
you cut out Hawk.
Go ahead.
But I don't want to go to her yet. I want to just get Oliver's take on how much he was able to catch of the show and his take on what Slow was bringing.
I caught when you guys were discussing The Law of War. Yeah, I love that book. I have it on my phone, on my desktop, on my laptop. I try to go in it every day if I can because there's so many nuggets in there. You were talking about 11.6, spot on with that. I sent you a message when you were talking about it to check out chapter 4 and chapter 9. Chapter 4 has everything to do with the class of persons and the prisoners of war, which is what's currently happening in the Capitol, in the basement of the Capitol. There's prisoners of war. They should never have been charged with anything. they're supposed to be treated a certain way according to the law of war manual, and they weren't. And so they violated the law of war. And I can't believe nobody's bringing that up or hasn't brought that up.
What was the chapter?
Chapter 4. Chapter 4 of the law of war manual talks about the class. It breaks down the class of persons. Who's the belligerent persons? Who are the hostiles? Who are the occupying persons? Who are the prisoners of war? It breaks it all down. And you know, they violated the law of war when they imprisoned those. You know, I don't know if you want to call them belligerents. I would say they were militia at that point.
Which
and they
ones?
should have been
The
treated that way.
J6ers? Who are we talking about?
The J6ers. Yep. The J6ers. Those are militia. Trump ordered us to disperse. That was his proclamation to the militia, which has to be done before you invoke the Act of 1807. And even
Which is why they took it down. Which is why they took it down within 4 or 5 minutes of it being up.
That's right. And those who went to the Capitol and you know, the windows and charged with
You're cutting out.
those crimes accordingly. Did you hear?
You broke up just a little bit. The people that went to the Capitol.
We just lost him. We
Completely?
just lost him. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He'll be back.
Okay. Could you start that
There's a
over?
military
the people that
base.
went to the Capitol? Could you start that over with the
Yeah,
people
so
that went to the Capitol? You broke up a little bit.
Right. So the people that went to the Capitol and vandalized the Capitol should be held accountable for those crimes accordingly, whatever the charges are, not 15, 25 years like they're handing a lot of people. I mean, God, I don't even like the guy, and they gave him 25 years. He wasn't even there. You know, so they're
You're talking
abusing their
about
power, their violence.
Tario?
Yeah.
Tario?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
did I tell you the story? Did I tell you the story with me and him?
No, I don't think so.
He tried to set me up.
Oh,
He tried to set me up, and
I'm sorry.
you remember?
Go ahead.
And that's that's when my original account got twit mode because of what he said to me. We were DMing each other, and then out of nowhere, he decided to ask me that question on the thread in public. And had I answered in any way, I would have implicated myself. You know, I was down there the first rally, night before and day of.
Right.
And I was down there on the 5th. And, you know, certain things were supposed to happen, but I didn't like the way things were looking. And so I watched from a distance. I'm not stupid.
And you left early. You left early knowing
and
what you know.
the day of, I left early. Yep. I watched his whole speech. I was on the lawn. I watched his whole speech because I'm disabled, and at times, especially in cold weather, my body hurts really bad. So I had my cane and a sign, a biblical scripture with me, and you know, I decided to take the route that everyone else was supposed to take. I followed the flag, you know, that huge 100-foot flag.
Constitution?
Yeah, I went that way, right. And so when I realized that things weren't looking right, I called my wife, and she says, you know, you should probably leave. And I left. And I'm glad I did. But still, I don't think anyone committed any kind of crime that would, you know, require being charged, you know, as a murderer. I mean, they're being charged football numbers, like, you know, kidnapping numbers, murder numbers.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Read that chapter. They violated the law of war. I'm telling you. When you read that chapter, you properly categorize who is who. You will see what I'm talking about.
I
And they
have
don't
it up
care.
right
You know
now.
they don't care. You know they don't care. They haven't cared for many years, but especially now, they don't care about breaking the law because they're occupying a territory as foreign agents. They're all foreign agents.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer wants to have. He told the president of Israel to have another. Like, kind of shit is that? Who are you? Who
Yeah.
are you to dictate to Israel to have another election? I mean, these
Well,
We all
guys.
have
are-
dual citizenship with Israel. You know, it's
What's that?
what is it? 92% of all Senate and Congress have dual
citizenship.
citizenship with Israel.
Yep.
That's right.
90,
They're foreign
90%.
agents.
Yeah.
Right.
Their
And-
loyalties are not to our country. Their loyalties are to Israel.
And by the way, the narrative that you just brought up about people dying there was just reiterated by Bill Maher last night in an interview with Kelly, Megyn Kelly.
Oh, he got annihilated in that interview. He made himself look like such a fool. But
Yep.
no, Dave, I didn't mention anyone getting murdered because in actuality there
Right.
were only two that I know of that were murdered, and one is questionable. You know, there's a lot of evidence.
Well,
You know,
the only two that were murdered were Trump supporters.
right?
And then and she confirmed that the only person that died within proximity was Sicknick, and it was of natural causes, and it was the
Right.
next day.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody of law enforcement died that day. We know that to be true. And by the way, I
It's not
do
what
have the
AOC
chapter
says.
4 pulled up. Go ahead.
It's not what AOC says.
Yeah.
I'm driving, so I can't read any of it. But if you it should say classes of persons, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's right. And then it
Classes
breaks
of
down to 4.1, 4.2. Just look at the titles of each section and what they say. Can you read them?
Introduction: the armed forces and civilian population. 4.3: lawful combatants and unprivileged
go.
belligerents.
There you go. Lawful combatants, and read that, because that will distinguish who's who, especially on that day. Who was who?
Unprivileged belligerents as a category in treaty law. States have in a few cases explicitly recognized in treaties certain categories of unprivileged belligerents, such as spies and saboteurs. However, states have generally refrained from explicitly recognizing unprivileged belligerents as a class in treaties in the way that classes of lawful combatants have been defined. Law of war. Go ahead.
So on J6, who would be categorized as a spy? We know that FBI was behind it all.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
that people infiltrated, dressed up as Trump supporters,
Yeah.
and infiltrate. They should be categorized as such, correct?
Yep, those are saboteurs. Both
That's right.
and saboteurs.
And those are the ones that should be in the jails, not the militia. If you read on, they tell you who the militia are. Is there a section there that says militia? I'm going off memory. There is, right?
Let me keep doing it. Combatant, general use of combatant, types of unprivileged belligerents. Two categories: persons who have
read the
Okay.
read the types of unprivileged belligerents.
Unprivileged belligerents may generally be classified into two categories that may be distinguished from one person by the presence or absence of state authorization. Persons who have initially qualified as combatants, i.e., by falling into one of the three categories mentioned above, who have acted so as to forfeit the privileges of combatant status by engaging in spying or sabotage, and persons who
Thank you.
who never meet the qualifications to be entitled to the privileges of combatant status, but who have, by engaging in hostilities, incurred the corresponding liabilities of combatant status, i.e., forfeited one or more of the protections of civilian status. These two
Exactly.
categories.
So if they're going in as civilian, go ahead. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, that's all right. I was continuing, but
So
go ahead.
I just wanted to real quick. If they went in as civilians, but they were actually FBI and possibly CIA, right, or members of Antifa, then they're not protected in any way.
Right.
No, they're considered
And
enemy
they,
combatants at that point.
yes, and they were given orders by who? By our own government officials, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. You understand?
Yeah.
So they violated the law of war because we were already in war.
Yes. That's why this law of war manual is so important, because we were already in war.
100%.
Yeah. That was declared during CV.
December 20th, December 17th, 2020, I believe it was, when Donald Trump put out the state of emergency. We were on the war. We were in war.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll look it up.
That was 2020.
Yeah.
And the thing was that, you know, at the same time that his message was directed to his supporters, telling them, okay, it's time to go home, he was also telling that to the combatants as well.
Everyone who heard it.
Yep.
Everyone who heard it.
That's where it shows that he knew that there were enemy combatants on the scene. He knew it. And he warned them off, you know, with making that statement that everybody go home, you know,
peacefully.
It's time to end this. And go ahead.
Key word. He said you have to go home peacefully. You have to disperse peacefully. He used the word peacefully.
Yep. What I wanted to bring up along that was Trump's last tweet, and also Q brought up Trump's last tweet and said, who was he talking to? Who are we talking to here?
That's right.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that out of my hat right now, but let's see.
Gotta put this down.
So, okay. So let me pull this up. This is, here it is. As I've been saying, this is Trump's, I believe this is his last one. As I've been saying for a long time, Twitter has gone further and further in banning free speech. And tonight, Twitter employees have coordinated with the Democrats and the radical left in removing my account from their platform to silence me and you, the 75 million great patriots who voted for me, he wrote. Twitter said Trump's use of the @POTUS account was an attempt to evade suspension and violates its rules. For government accounts such as @POTUS and @White House, we will not suspend those accounts permanently, but will take action to limit their use, the company said in a statement. And they also banned @Team Trump account for suspended that. So, but that is, and there was also, and I'll see if I can find that, that drop. And I may go to January 8th. I think it was January 8th when they suspended him altogether.
He gave the speech on the 7th, and I believe the next day, which, by the way, was the same day that DNI Radcliffe formally handed him, or when they announced that Radcliffe gave him the report from the intelligence agencies, all 17 agencies.
Right,
Remember
right,
that?
right. Yep,
Where
yep,
they confirmed election interference.
yep, yep. The speech was on the 6th, and then I think he was terminated on the 8th, but that video that he did was taken down on the 6th as well. And I'm finding Hawk. I'm basically looking, if you have access, I'm looking for when Q mentions POTUS's tweet and who is he talking. Pay attention to who he's talking to. And I think what you guys just said is that he was talking to both, the enemy combatants and those who were being affected, by them very negatively, was what that was all about.
Well, I think he was directing that more towards the three-letter agencies because he knew they were listening, and that was kind of a warning to them, letting them know like what
Radcliffe.
But we know what you did, and you know that we know the election was stolen, and this is why you're doing what you're doing. And in so many words, he's letting them know they're done pretty much. We have it all. You're done.
Yeah.
Here's your warning. Here's your warning. And as I mentioned, they continue to break the law to this day.
Yep.
To this day. And Trump has mentioned so many times that he wants everything done by the book. He wants everything lawfully done.
Yeah. And by the way, that the takedown of Twitter was predicted by Q, 2.5 years prior to that.
Yep.
It's yeah. Go ahead.
And another thing I want to mention, Dave, executive order, I forget the number, but it was signed on the 18th of December. If you want to go to the registry and look that up, December 18th. Remember the follow the pen drops?
Yeah.
Yep. And one of those drops, it shows the actual executive order. Check out that executive order. December 18, was it 2020?
2020, the continuation of the national emergency.
No, it had to do with intelligence. It had to do with intelligence. I have it. I'm driving. I can't.
And what was it? Was it mentioned?
Go in the registry for the executive orders.
Yeah, I'm there now.
And look for a date that's close to the 18th. I don't think it says it in the title, but it'll say it in the body of the executive order, or rather, it'll say it under the date. You'll see it there. It'll say December 18th.
And Q mentions the this one.
Yes.
Trump states plans for the intelligence community. That was December 18th, 2023.
No.
The executive order let me see. You know what was odd? Remember the closing of the executive departments and agencies on December 24th?
Yes.
Remember that? Remember how odd that was?
Well, I mean, I think they do that. It's a tradition, but this time they close it for a longer period of time because they traditionally close for the Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, this particular closing was a lot longer than any prior. closing. That's when they were restructuring everything.
Yeah, I'm not finding the that one. but let me-
139. No, not that one. Not that one. Was it 2018? It might have been 2018.
Yeah, that's a like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, because I typed in tweet and boy, do I got a list.
Establishing the White House Opportunity and Reorganization Council. No. Well,
Well,
I'm gonna have to when
we
I
can pull
stop.
that
I'll
up
find.
tonight. We'll do that
Yeah.
tonight when we go
Yep.
over your some of your dives.
Yep.
Be good. Yeah. So, but I thought that, going from the Law of War manual and then slow taking us into the CFR was pretty important stuff. Because the way it ties together is just really, really amazing. It's the next level stuff. What do you guys think about, in terms of the what we're seeing with all of this chaos and confusion, and with Flynn, and with the J6, obviously kind of like this cloud hanging over everything. And just this so much chaos going on in the movement. Oliver, you got thoughts on that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's 2020 all over again.
Yeah.
Election
year.
I always think back to that time, and take what I've learned from that time up until this period, and use discernment. You still have the same players. They've gotten wiser to the fact that it's going to take a lot more to break us down. Because I actually believe we've gotten stronger. I think, it's obvious Trump has a lot more support right now. You have those who gave up a long time ago, and they come up every now and then and post their negative tweets, whether it's under the same account or some sock account. Here's what I do. I don't allow myself to be swayed one way or another. I take what I know with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, no one really knows everything. And this shit could swing either way at any time. So just keep doing what you feel is right. I don't like to say, don't follow this person, don't follow that person. You have to follow everybody in order to understand what's going on. I've been accused of being a matrix guy. I can't help it if they hit me up or they give me, hat tips or what have you. I'm not going to unfollow him because he may say something I need to hear one day. You understand? The guy's been around a long time, like you. He's not a stupid guy. He's made some dumb decisions, but who hasn't? So you have
That's where my comment of my comment of it's 85%, 80 to 85% truth and 50% bullshit comes in. You're still going to get a percentage of bullshit, but the fact of the matter is the compilation of the good information being compiled using all the different sources is what leads us in the right direction.
right. And and with that said, when you call somebody out on bullshit, and they can't come back with you with anything, come back at you with any, evidence refuting what you're saying, then that's when you discard that person totally. When you have somebody who's still very relevant, like a General Flynn, who's been attacked from every end by almost everyone, you still have to watch what's going on with him and his team, because they've been around since the beginning. And I say this all the time about General Flynn. His position for most of his military career was to be a spy. So who knows what's going on with General Flynn? I like to think he's a patriot and he's doing the right thing. He's on the ground spreading positive, vibes and getting people moving in the right direction as far as, local impact, which is great. What's behind the scenes and what's ultimately in place for him, I don't know. We've seen Trump tell him stay healthy. A lot of people want to see him in the White House under different, positions. But at the end of the day, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So I don't like to spend too much time even thinking about that. He's on a whole nother level. He's on a whole nother level. He's the kind of guy that if he had the support and the power to take certain people out, he probably could. But you and I couldn't.
Right.
You understand? So you and I have to focus on the things that we do have control of,
Exactly.
and the things that we can do, instead of worrying about what Flynn's doing tomorrow. It's
Right.
like, worry about yourself. Do what you can with what you have.
Looking at that J6 stuff we were talking in the Law of War manual, you mentioned that he spent most of his life as a spy, and that would certainly factor into the spies and saboteurs that are mentioned in the Law of War manual as well.
Yes, and that goes both ways. And let me tell you something. There were people there gathering information.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
They were there specifically.
You cut out specifically to infiltrate and gather information.
Oh, we lost him again. Yeah, I think that's where, regards to John McAfee. Okay, we can bring him into this now, because he made a
who's that Hawk?
John McAfee.
Oh, McAfee, yeah.
He had a video where he was talking to this reporter about how he gave laptops to all these politicians, trying to find the evidence to clear his name. Now, he was never able to clear his name, but however, upon retrieval of those laptops, and he said that specifically in his video, upon retrieval of those, that he did find all kinds of crimes committed by all of these people. I played it just a few days ago on my podcast. And I remember the video of those guys coming down the stairs that had the laptops tucked inside their sweatshirts.
Right. Because he gave them to the secretaries of all the politicians, I believe.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And he had spyware installed in all of them.
Yeah.
So that he could watch everything.
Yeah. I was just bringing up what Oliver was talking about with, I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing I brought up here. Let me try this again. Where did I go here? There we go. Where the infiltration of organizations and spreading disinformation that he was talking about. Q talks a lot about infiltration of Antifa and finding out, the information about them right here. Trump has had military and intelligence infiltrate Antifa and all the dissenting local governments, always 5 steps ahead. Please be true. This is from an Anon. And Q responds, well done, picture being painted.
That's just a
And,
direct confirmation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch demonstrations, infiltrate organizations, and spread disinformation. The Army used 1,500 plainclothes agents to do that. This was during the anti-Vietnam War protests. Yeah. They compiled personal information on more than 100,000 politically active Americans. Yeah. And this is what must be completed to engage military intelligence over 3-letter agencies. So very important stuff there. Like really, really good stuff. I mean, again, folks don't need to believe in Q to get wisdom from Q, right?
Exactly.
And so, absolutely imperative, like Oliver was saying, I follow accounts that I don't necessarily believe what they're saying or what they're saying, but they're important accounts to follow to kind of get a pulse of what's actually happening. I mean, one of the greatest, well, not the greatest, but one of the most severe negative factors that I have experienced in my lifetime is the past 18 years of doing nothing but diving into the darkest recesses of humanity and unraveling this myriad of deception that has been placed over our eyes in trying to extract the truth. And so in order to do that, you got to dive in to the swamp. And, when we do that, we get muddier than the people who run the swamp.
You got to get dirty in order to find the truth. There's just absolutely no way around that. It's like, when we were deep diving into the child trafficking, the aggressive feelings that you would get, the emotion that layered with that was essential, because that is how and what spurs people into standing up about something. You hit their emotions, you hit their thoughts, and then at that point there, it's upon them to reflect that back and turn that into a weapon to combat the trafficking, and so, yeah, I like the breakdown of that. That's a good analogy, Dave.
Thanks, man. Oliver's
Welcome
back with us.
young man.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
I don't think they like what I was saying.
They never
You're
do.
driving down to the city too, so you got to
They
consider that.
They said, quick, cut the feed, cut the feed. Yeah.
As long as they don't cut the feed when you show up at Dominic's.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm looking forward to that. I'm a few minutes away. I caught
What
a
are you
little
gonna
bit
get?
of traffic.
What are you gonna get? A hoagie?
I'm a big seafood guy, so I'll probably get some lobster fra diavolo, or some kind of a mix, some kind of mussels and lobster, mussels, fra diavolo, something like that.
Ceviche? You like that?
I love ceviche. I got a nice spot for that. There's different spots for different types, and I plan on hitting a few of them. So
Imagine me not having had ceviche since I've got to Texas. Just there's not a lot of ceviche restaurants here in the heart of Texas.
Best ceviche I ever had was out the back of a station wagon in Miami.
Oh, really? Okay.
Swear to God, Cuban guy out the back of his station wagon was selling ceviche, and it was the best ceviche I ever had.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
I used to.
Not
I
easy.
used to.
Not easy to make.
No, you gotta have it just right. It can go in a lot of different directions. And I'm no chef, but yeah. So so what you were saying about just paying attention to a lot of different people so that we can keep the pulse on keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on. So much of it is, and it's been to my detriment, to my emotional and mental detriment, of how much time that I've actually spent in the swamp, digging these guys out and pointing at them and showing people who they are. And I don't know if you get that vibe or that energy from all this digging you do, Oliver, but it takes a toll on you when you're doing it for long enough.
Well, this is what I try to stick to. When I do my digging, I try to avoid digging on people individually, as opposed to entities. Because a person can be persuaded one way or another, or they can be playing a role. And as I said before, I'm not perfect. I'm no saint. And so if someone did a deep dive on me and started looking into my background and they found something out that I did 30 years ago, would that affect my character? Probably, or maybe it won't. But does it really matter?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Does it really matter? In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? No. Our battle is between, the evil darkness of this world. And of course they're using certain people, but at the end of the day, you gotta, in my opinion, focus on what you can do. If you can't do anything about a certain situation, then you're just wasting. And you said it can be draining. I told you when you went after Gil, I says you're wasting your time and energy. I mean, I'm glad you did, because you found out a lot of stuff and you put it out there for people to know, but it drains you.
Oh,
it drains you.
yeah.
And you're better than that. When he blocked you, you should just say, fuck you, like I did. When he blocked me, I said, fuck you, man. You're lower than the people you're talking about for doing that. I opened myself up to you. I gave you an ear.
Yeah.
But listen, we had some deep conversations, and then you blocked me for some bullshit. Like, so
I thought it was important to show the history of him doing that to good people.
You did a great job.
That we're trying to help them.
Yeah, you did a great job. You did a
I
great
need
job
to
with
step away for a few minutes. I got a dog food delivery coming up to the gate right now.
Okay.
I'll be back with you guys in just
All
a
right.
few.
See you, brother. Thanks.
Hey, you know who he sounds like? I meant to say it before. My alarm just went off in my house. Hold on a second.
All right. You could take care of that.
They always do this and they don't.
I'm sticking around just to find out who I sound like.
Oh yeah, you sound Gene Decode.
Oh my lord!
geez.
Oh, please
Oh,
don't
geez.
go there. No, my lord. Oh my lord.
I gotta hear you talk about dumbs now, just to be sure.
Okay. Dumbs, are those the people that follow him, or are we talking about the deep underground military base? Hey, listen, Q says there's multiple meetings, right? So, and dude, I've been speaking out about Gene Decode. I don't know. Hawk could probably tell you, but dude, at least 3 years. I don't know. Oh, it's longer than that, because it was Kirsten W. And I was asking her, I'm like, why you? And that was her go-to, man.
Oh, go-to, yeah.
I mean, she built her whole career off Charlie, and being one of Charlie's Angels and then Gene Decode. And I'm not going to speak to this guy's, character or anything like that. He might be a heck of an old, might be somebody's grandpa. I don't even know, but never, ever one receipt from that dude. And that's all I said is I said, listen, I don't give it any credibility whatsoever because there's no receipts. That's the bottom line.
Right. I mean, a lot of the stuff he talked about was open source. You can find yourself, and I did. But you're right. He never really produced any receipts for anything.
Yeah. But you know what? It was one of those things. Go ahead. It was one of those things that, and this is what I've talked about a lot, is that he was telling us what we wanted to hear. And that is one of the greatest tools used in the manipulation of humanity, in the indoctrination, in the matrix, is saying things that we know people want to hear. That more than anything attracts an audience, and it attracts people, and it also falsely establishes a credibility because that person knows something I don't. And I've never used that. I've never used intel. I've never used secret source, part of the operation. And Q gave us all those tenets. I mean, again, if you don't believe in Q, just look at those tenets, and that will guide you through the myriad of so-called truthers out there that are using the same mechanisms that were used by the Mockingbird media to capture your attention. Exclusive, breaking, only on, NBC do we have this for you. Using the language, the NPR voice, that makes us sound like we are so trustworthy because we speak to you like we're telling you a bedtime story. And so you're going to believe us because we sound so sincere and so caring about you, the people. I mean, and we're seeing over and over and over again, man. We're seeing
putting us under a spell.
Dude, I said this the other night. Yeah, under a spell. And it's total neurolinguistic programming. These are not the droids you're looking for. That's exactly what it is. It's a wave of the hand. These are not the droids you're looking for. It's that simple. It's that evil. It's the dark side of that mental technology, that programming. Yeah, dude. As I said the other night, I said, this whole thing with Gil isn't my first rodeo, and Gil isn't my first rodeo clown. This has happened before, but it's the same setup, the same, create the victim, set up the story, present the evidence. And, I'm sure it's good for something, but it's not good for me. And it wasn't good for him to be able to defend himself from those court cases either in front of a jury. But, yeah, man. Let's see. Dennis says, we came to break the matrix. Exactly. That's exactly what we have to do. Oh, Gene Decode, I guess he said $100,000 a month NESARA for everyone. That's certainly something people want to hear. Right?
Listen, to I can't say to his defense because he never, like you say, he never proved anything. But
yeah,
after a ton of research that I've done on my own, it's kind of plausible if we were to be given back everything that was taken from us,
Mm.
from the Fed,
Yeah.
from the Fed. You
Yeah.
understand? You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Do we have the proof that that's gonna happen? No, but they've been alluding to that for so many years, and now it's like, is it really gonna happen? And if it is gonna happen, how much does each person get? And I thought about this critically, and I'm in my 50s. You're 60, right? 60 something. And
59. Don't put me
so
there yet.
you look great. So
Thank you, man.
we worked our whole lives. So does that mean we get more than others? Yeah, I believe so. Does someone who is more valuable because of what they bring to the table,
Mm.
or should they get more than others? I don't know, because the other people, many others in this case, weren't given the opportunity to learn what that person learned. You
Right.
understand? So in the event that we were all given the same opportunity across the board, and it was left up to us whether to accept or deny that opportunity, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And you think of schools like Yale and Harvard and MIT, and we had very privileged people going to these schools. You had some minorities going there as well, but for the most part, the majority of the people of this country didn't have that education. So it's not fair to give, say, a doctor or a surgeon more than a plumber. You understand?
Yep. Yep.
I hope
Yep.
I'm making sense.
No, no. There are two levels here. You're talking about the level of contribution of income tax that went straight into the coffers of the owners of the central bank, right?
Hmm.
Right. So if you got some Wall Street exec who was paying in 200,000 a year into income tax, which chances are he wasn't, because they have people that work those around, and so they're not paying much in taxes. But does he get the same as the guy who pays in maybe 5,000 a year, right, in taxes? And that's just the income tax. So that's one level, and to me, that's pennies compared to the Slow Country's back in the house here. Slow, welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, brother, man.
Awesome. And we got Oliver here with us, as you can see, I think.
What's up, kid?
What's going on, man?
So
talking about getting this Nassar Gassara one.
Yeah. Some G&D code. And all our money's down in the dumbs. I hope they didn't blow it up. But at any rate, so that's pennies, right? What we paid into our income tax. The real money is in the trading of us as commodities.
Right.
Right? Through our birth certificate. And that is where millions and millions lie and in wait for us to claim. And this is, of course, the direction of the state nationals and the reclaiming our birthright, reclaiming the money that's ours, which is a very very confusing web of direction to try to find out that happened.
Remind me later. I have some paperwork on that I want to share with you. Remind me later tonight.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So
I'm going through that process as we speak.
Okay. So I started that process too. By getting my birth certificates, but then it changed, because then you go to lowercase your name. By the way, I think we're at about let me see, 1,500 nearing 1,600 beautiful people in the audience. So welcome one and all. We have Hawk
Hello,
Marsden,
everyone.
who's taking a break, Sir Oliver, and Slow Country with us. So thanks for joining us today. But yeah, so that is tapping into the money that has been made off of us as slaves, basically, and they've been buying and selling our value for a great while. And this is the movement, like David Straight tries to help people get the money that they're owed. And I think some people have been successful with that, but many people question that whole method. And is it really safe? Is it really? And he's, his wife is in prison right now. He's had his houses raided. Blames it on the corruption here in Texas by the Bath family that have the tallest building in Fort Worth. And he
B-A-S-S, Bass.
Bath, I believe, B-A-T-H.
Oh, because I know of the Bass family from Texas who pretty much run everything in Texas. B-A-S-S. Bass
Okay,
family.
that must be them. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're right. And they control the court system here as well. Yeah, Bath. You're right. I'm sorry. Yep. Perry Richardson Bath, and you were just talking about Yale. He's a Yale graduate. Wonder if he was in Skull and Bones.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yep. They've got a lot of money and a lot of control. And I'm well aware of the control and the corruption in the court systems and in the state systems and so forth. But the real question that I have with Gil is your story legit? And so far I'm saying no. Yeah. So, Slow, you I don't know if you've been able to listen, probably not, because you had the kids with you, right?
Oh, I was listening. It was still broadcasting live on my channel through my phone.
Cool,
So
cool.
I had it playing through the car, or the truck, I should say.
You have any thoughts or questions, given, what we were talking about regarding your stuff and going into that law war? Any thoughts on that?
Well, and also you had touched at the beginning of the stream about the economy, kind of, and you were just talking about it now. Also found in chapter 11 of the Law of War, I believe it's 11.21 maybe. It talks about a parallel economy in a sense. Let me pull it up here. Because and I think Sir Oliver Pollock knows what I'm talking about here. I think it's
We're actually in a parallel. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm echoing bad.
Okay, here it is. All right.
I mean, this is all chapter 11 is all about the occupied territory.
Yes.
I mean, it is completely, about the occupied territory and all the things that occur.
It's 11.22.5 is where I'm looking at.
Okay, I'm close.
It's page
there.
873.
Okay, I'm almost there.
You know I'm in the Bronx
Probably.
when you hear a speech. Quarter to head.
Nice. 11:22. What?
5.
Yep. Okay. The previous one, 4, was debts. This is a really really important.
You went too far.
1123.5, right?
No, 1122.5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, it's page 873.
All right.
Right there.
1122.5. Here we go.
Currency and exchange rates. The occupying power may leave the local currency of the occupied area in circulation. That's the fiat dollar we have now, right?
Yeah.
The occupying power may also authorize domestic authorities to reissue currency if necessary for ensuring public order. So we have that. And if we go down a little bit more to the next page, the occupying power may introduce its own currency into the occupied area or issue special currency for use in the occupied area territory, should the introduction or issuance of such currency be necessary. So one thing that I found really interesting, and I have not fact checked this, and I need to, but I've seen a few posts a while back talking about how they haven't printed new money since 2021. I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I haven't looked it up. It would be interesting to find out, though. And this specifically also it mentions the new Iraqi dinar banknotes in the notes down here.
Let me go to that in a second. When was the last time the U.S. Mint printed new money? According to the search results, the U.S. Mint is responsible for producing coins, not paper currency. That's true. The Bureau of Engraving and Printing is responsible for printing paper currency. The last information provided about the BEP is from 2023, which states that the Board of Governors approved and submitted its calendar year 2024 print order to the BEP on July 17th, 2023. This indicates that the BEP is still printing new paper currency, but the exact date of the last print is not specified. Okay. And the Federal Reserve has not halted the distribution of paper money, but that was from December 2022. Yeah, so maybe more to be had on that. But go ahead with the Iraqi dinar here.
Yeah, it specifically mentions the Iraqi dinar banknotes down here in the notes. Very first part of the notes.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting, especially when it talks about the revaluation of currency, which I believe is down. Oh, yeah, right here. The occupying power may also set exchange rates for the currency in occupied territory.
Yeah. Yep. And then Coalition Provisional Authority, the new Iraqi dinar banknotes, October 14th, 2003. We were just talking about that because that's when you were in Iraq. And I said, that's when it began, right? Yep. The CBI, Central Bank of Iraq, is pursuant to Article 34 of the Central Bank of Iraq Law, number 64 of 1976, as amended, the sole authority in the Republic of Iraq vested with the power to issue legal tender currency. And then it goes into the CBI under the supervision of the CPA shall issue new Iraqi dinar banknotes and determine the denominations, designs, technical specs, and other characteristics of new Iraqi dinar banknotes. And Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but one of the things that we do is we unpack this kind of stuff. Like we're not going to go on and say, "Oh yeah, you're going to get $100,000 a year or a month or something," whatever the heck Gene Decode supposedly said. I don't know for fact, but dig deeper than what somebody is telling you, folks. Dig deeper as best you can.
Well, and also if we continue, on from that, the occupying powers to regulate the currency must not be used to confiscate private property. For example, intentional debasement of currency by the establishment of fictitious valuation or exchange rates or like devices, as well as failure to take reasonable steps to prevent inflation, with the result of enrichment of the occupying power, would violate international law. What do we see going on now with inflation?
Wow. Yeah, which is basically, illegal taxation. Yeah, this is amazing.
Oh yeah, and all of this is in chapter 11. And like Sir Oliver was saying, in chapter 4, where it goes into the definition of protected persons and belligerent persons and stuff like that, it's really interesting because that same language is used in 11 CFR 11.5 and 11.6.
Yeah. And Oliver, we got you back in too, bro. Just so you know. Yeah. Pamela says DC should be completely shut down. What's interesting is that we've seen a lot of evidence that it is, parts of it is shut down, but it's never, when I went to DC, it was thriving. It was thriving, and no other city have I seen thriving like DC. People out getting ice cream, and it's not just tourists, but I went to areas where tourists really don't go, and that was thriving. And but that goes to show you that, remember, all these people and all the government employees all the way through CV-19 never missed a paycheck. Not once. All of them, all the organizations, all the 3-letter agencies, DC is recession proof because they're using our money. Right. Yeah.
And wait until you see 11.23.5. That's interesting too.
Go ahead and read it. I'm pulling it up now.
Exchange controls, including clearing arrangements and asset controls. The occupying power may also institute exchange controls, including clearing arrangements, and if necessary, the freezing or blocking of certain assets in order to conserve the monetary assets of the occupied territory, as well as for security purposes. For example, the occupying power may regulate or even prohibit the flow of funds between the occupied territory and other countries, under the theory that preventing flight of capital assets is critical to maintaining order and stability. Think about all the money that they're trying to send to Ukraine right now. I just want to kind of put that into perspective with this, because it sounds like they're trying to move money from one place to the other to keep the shell game going.
Well, they got to launder it. They got to, take as much as they can, because the jig is up, and
Yes.
and they know it, and the jig is ending. So they're taking everything. They're emptying the cupboards, right?
Yes. And I just want to put it out there. If you're not paying attention to the Dow, right now. It closed out on Friday at
Yeah.
40,007 points. And yesterday it went down. Or no, it went up yesterday. Excuse me. It didn't go above 40,000 again, but it dropped on Monday by exactly 200 points. And then it went up yesterday by a little bit. And today it's down again. And today it's down again by, we're sitting at 39,671 and it hasn't closed yet.
Okay. And we're seeing a lot of leadership change. And here's USA, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Pakistan, 40,000 feet. Q talks about the 40,000 foot view. And so a lot of Anons think that that might be in relation to the Dow. I haven't seen that evidence, but given the importance of double meanings in the drops, I'm not against that possibility. But because that's one of those things where it's speculation, right?
Right.
Oliver, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to know why I keep getting kicked out of space.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. How's your when that happens? Do you look down at your signal, and is your signal strong?
No, my signal's great. Yeah, I'm in the city. I got a very strong signal. I honestly believe I'm being kicked out. It happens to me in Patriot Spaces. It happened to me with Isaiah Washington. The other day we were talking, and it just keeps happening. I don't know why. No big deal. But
I hope. Go
Huh?
ahead. I just hope you're not giving me a bad reputation.
No.
These people that are kicking you out, because I'm a pussycat. I'm no problem.
No. I'm not saying it. For those listening, I'm not insinuating that it's Dave. I know that there are a lot of bad actors in this app, and they do that to me. They've been doing that. That's why they call me Sir Sense-a-Lot. They've been censoring me for years now.
Yeah.
But with the Denari, and by the way, I'm in Crotona Park right now in the Bronx, where the rally's going to take place tomorrow.
Nice.
With the Denari, we were waiting for the revaluation of the Denari because that was going to determine when they put crypto into play. So we, from the crypto world, are under the impression that when the Denari was revalued, that they were going to back certain cryptos with gold and silver, and that would be a signal moving forward. You mentioned the two what was it, the financial I forget what it was, systems, I guess, running concurrently, side by side.
Parallel economies.
Right, the parallel economies. So we've been running a parallel financial system for the last 5 years. They've been doing it because when they make the transition over, has to be, they try to prevent there being a black swan event. We hear about a black swan event all the time. I don't think there's going to be one. We hear about blackouts, 10 days of darkness. I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think they have everything under control to the point where every time they try something, it fails. If you noticed, and it's
well, the only option they have left is to shut down the internet.
And I don't think they're going to be successful because of Starlink. Elon just mentioned yesterday he's in Fiji. And he let them know pretty much. Look, we can see, even though we're over here in the other part of the world, we can still see what's going on in the Middle East. He's everywhere. Starlink is covering the earth right now, 100%. Starlink is connected with Space Force, and I believe we will have a new internet probably by next year. And you know, you see things like Klaus Schwab stepping down. That's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Somebody just asked, what's that all about? Wonder
Well, look at all these plans he was talking about for our future.
Yeah.
Right? Who the fuck are you? I'm sorry, Dave. Who are you to
Dude,
tell me
yeah.
about my future? Like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it drives me crazy. Not really. It doesn't drive me crazy. It makes me laugh, to be honest. That this guy can come out and say, we have this and we have that. I don't care what you think you have. You have no control over me. And now look,
Right.
he steps down now. So I think those are all, you know, good signs pointing towards a very prosperous future for you and I, for us, for regular folk.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's over for them, to be honest.
Well, I think that, I mean, what we're seeing with Schwab and his right-hand man, the Jewish dude, who's, you know, talking about, you know, the things that they're saying, the way they're saying it, the clothing of Schwab, you know, to me, dude, it's just central casting and also costume department as well. You know, it's like, you got to be kidding me, man. He is like the ultimate, what do you call it? He's like a Bond character, you know?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And another thing I want to mention, Dave, the House passed a resolution pretty much giving power to the President of the United States as far as, you know, our finances and the blockchain technology. So they're pushing for blockchain technology regarding, you know, pretty much our treasury, right? And it passed the House. It's going to the Senate now, and it gives ultimate power to the President of the United States. So where does that leave the SEC? Well, I think, and I've been saying this for a while now, I believe the SEC is also out of the equation because of their involvement primarily with Jamie Dimon and, you know, the corruption with you know, with Epstein, you know, him being Epstein's accountant and his affiliation with Gessler. You know, I can't see them allowing that to continue. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. You know, I really do think that Ripple is the new treasury. They brought in, you know, Rios for a reason, and it's happening fast. I don't know if you noticed the last couple of days, all the booms we've been getting. Everything's just happening really, really fast right now.
Yep.
Speaking of Jamie Dimon, he's stepping down.
Yeah. Yes.
That's code for he's on the list to get more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fooling around, but I do believe that all these step downs are people that are going to be, you know, eventually taken out. You know.
Yep. Yep.
I just want to see it all live on TV.
Pay-per-view or free?
For free. For free. And I don't want to pay for it. They've already got enough money out of us. They don't need no more. I'm not kidding. You know, between what we paid into Social Security that we're never ever going to see, okay, plus our taxes and property taxes. I mean, I pay $2,500 a year for property tax on this place that I got now. You know, that's actually not bad for 30 acres. You know, but there's no permanent residence here. If there was a house built here, then my property tax would double, if not triple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's yeah. This would be a great piece of land for somebody to homestead on. You know, but if you're going to build a house, but for everything else, not so much. You guys knock it off.
So, Dave, you guys,
Yeah.
Were you guys talking about Iran? I thought I heard something about Iran when the kids were getting in the truck.
I mentioned him briefly when, but go ahead.
I dropped something in the private chat for you. And remember, there was a helicopter crash, supposedly with him on the helicopter.
Oh, you mean the president?
Yeah. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
dropped something in the private chat for you.
Yeah.
Wasn't his minister on the same helicopter? Or did they say that he was on a different helicopter? Because there were 4 helicopters altogether.
And yeah, look what they were talking about. They were talking about, dropping the US dollar and joining BRICS. Yeah.
And that's happened in the African countries. Every one of them that were signing up for BRICS or denied the Super Jabberwocky. All of those leaders were killed off within a very short period of time from the time that they say, no, we're not going to admit you to do this. And now we have the Iran, and then if we correlate that with what with what Q said about Iran, is this going to be the catalyst that brings Uranium One to the forefront?
Hey, Hawk, that's a great question because, as we know, it went through Canada, through the Clintons,
supposedly to Russia,
to Russia, and who delivered it to who delivered the sample to Russia? Mueller.
That's right.
And then we found out Q was telling us about the that it ended up under Iranian control. I believe Q mentioned Syria.
I believe it went through Pakistan after it went to Russia. Yep.
Okay.
Well, Q also mentions that POTUS took control of Iran.
Yeah.
And you were talking about
that was largely because of his relationship with Ben Salahim, the prince there.
Ben Tawalid. He was the owner of Twitter, and he was the guy that was trying to assassinate bin Salman in Vegas.
Right, but I mean the relationship between Trump and the one who had the attempted assassination on him is based upon where Trump stood. I think where Iran was concerned. I don't think that Trump has always looked at Iran necessarily as an enemy. No different than Iran. What people need to understand is that when they're out there chanting death to America, it's not necessarily the American people that they're talking about. They're talking about the administration, the government that is leading this country. And they're now under the understanding that we've been gaslighted as much as they've been gaslighted. That's part of what this awakening is about, is understanding how much each country has been gaslighted, not just by our politicians, but by our media as well. And Trump was bringing all of that out in the forefront and showing people.
Absolutely. I mean, anybody that challenges Trump on some things, and we all challenge him on certain things, but just all you got to do is look at the attempt by the deep state to take him out multiple times.
I always look at when he took out Soleimani.
Yeah.
That to me just made like the biggest statement you could ever make.
Yeah.
To the Middle East.
Yeah.
He can take out whoever he wants when he needs to. And you guys
Big
remember
message.
our Congress was very upset about that. You know,
Yeah,
they were upset that he didn't inform them that he was going to do that, and so on
right.
and so forth.
Because
So,
they would have let him know.
Well, think about it like this. What happened right after the assassination? They put up videos of all the people out on the streets condemning the United States for that, when in all actuality, they were praising the fact that this
That's
guy
right.
was dead.
same thing now with the
Yeah.
with the helicopter crash. The people out in the streets, you know, cheering. They were cheering because of his death.
Right.
So,
You know, the whole I mean, the reason why they couldn't tell Congress is look at the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood in Obama through
Yep.
right.
through Valerie Jarrett. Look at the, you know, who I decoded the snake because her father was partners with the writer Oscar Brown Jr. of the Snake. And they had the Negro nationwide news show that they did, the Negro Hour or the Negro News Front, I think it was, out of Chicago, which is obviously where Obama came out of, and that was all orchestrated. And Valerie Jarrett, that was her father-in-law. But and then the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into the Clinton camp and the Clinton Foundation, which is Uranium One, which is Iran, and that was Huma Abedin. Follow Huma, and which also takes us to Bintal Al-Aweed, who is the funder and the creator of the Harvard University Muslim alumni, Huma. So it's, and then Hawk, you found some connection to the DNA as well with Huma.
Yep.
Back a while back.
Hey guys, I gotta step away for a little bit. All right, I'll be back.
All right, brother. Hey, I'm probably going to shut this down soon, but let's reconvene later. Yeah, enjoy your afternoon there in the Bronx. Are you going to get to meet Trump again tomorrow?
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any particulars as to where he's going to be. I just scouted the whole area. It looks like he's going to set up in the middle of the park. I don't know what kind of crowd is going to be here tomorrow. I reached out to people I know. They're going to meet me here tomorrow. I'm hoping that I'll get close enough to meet him again, and if I do, I'll try to put it live. You know.
Well, I'm sure he'll be happy to see the best looking iron worker he's ever met. Dude, that was, I gotta say, let's think about this. And I'll let you go after this. Of all the connections, of all the video out there of Trump meeting people, I think yours has to rank in the top like 5.
Thank you.
Like of what I've seen.
And you know what's funny, Dave?
I believe you said you were a good-looking guy. I mean, I'm like, what the heck? What's up with that? You know?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, why is he saying that to me? He said it twice. He came back and said it again. But yesterday, and I posted it again, because yesterday Il Donald Trumpito posted it again.
Did he really?
I did a little decode of it. If you want to go check out my page on that.
I
found it strange that he brought it up again. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going over that decode with you tonight. But let me see if I could pull it up right now, and we can either show it with you here, or we can, if you need to step out, no worries. I'll play it after you go. But I see you reposted the Pandora's Box video that Kevin Rotello did.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Right. He's doing well. What I was going to say about that was I really didn't want to show those. I didn't really. That's not who I am in terms of like, because I sat on those memes. I wouldn't let any of them go. Kevin was very, he was checking in with me, and I'm like, no. But because I was doing all my research, and I wanted just to let the facts speak for themselves. And now that the facts have spoken for themselves that I presented, and people were just ignoring them. Now I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because
Huh.
you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you guys going to play these stupid games. All right, here we go. But I just want to say thanks to Kevin because he was sending me those guys when I was going through a very difficult time, when I was being attacked. I was, they had defamed me through that show they did. And I was like digging into Gil's stuff, and that's some dark shit right there. And it wasn't fun at all. And so he was sending me these and pumping me up when I was, when I was going through all that. So, hats off to Kevin for doing that. All right, here's the here it is. This is what Il Donaldo Trumpo, Poppy Trumpo shared once again.
Can you sign this for me, Mr. President? Can you sign this for me, Mr. President? Oh, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
So that's Danny. That's my boy Danny right there.
Danny, okay.
He was like a kid in the candy store that day.
Oh, you could hear it in his voice.
Yeah, you see,
Thank you, Mr. President.
he's nothing like that, and he melted when it was just so funny, man.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, don't worry about it. What do you have, a hat? Give me a hat.
And he's saying that to Oliver, right? He's saying that to you.
The lady, so there was a lady who was begging to let her get in front of me, and I says, "Don't worry, when he comes, I'll turn to the side so you can get," because it was a little tight, a little crowded. I said, "I'll turn to the side so you can squeeze in and get your hat signed." It was an Oriental lady, older lady who follows. I know, I've seen her. She goes to all his New York events, not events, but she's down at the courthouse. She follows him. And so, and the New York Times was right behind us. The photographer for the New York Times was literally on a step ladder right behind us, right there.
Oh, wow.
But
And
I just found it funny because go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, is he reaching out to your hat or hers?
I had already had mine signed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My hat, but I went there with my hat, so when he came out of the limousine, my hat was the first hat that he signed.
Oh,
the
cool.
Secret Service, after that point, they started giving hats out. So my buddy's hat is the hat that the Secret Service gave him, the one that he signed right there. And the other hat that he signed, that was the lady's hat. It was a different hat. But yeah, I wore it like tomorrow. I'm bringing my own hat. Hopefully I can get it signed. I have the St. Patrick's Day hat, the green and gold. Hopefully I can get that signed. But
Hey.
yeah, it was. Listen, it was a great, really good experience. We were surrounded by so many good people there. Secret Service was amazing.
Yep.
It was just an all-around great experience. But check out the timestamp on that.
Okay,
That's
hold
what
on.
I found intriguing.
Let me play this through. And by the way, the length of time on this is 45.
Right, exactly.
45, right? And by the way, I think I don't think we talk about this enough, but his hat says 45-47 through 47. I mean, nothing's by accident. Nobody they didn't send that to the hat embroiderer. And then when it came back, they were like, "Oh, you were supposed to put a comma here, not a dash." You know what I mean? They could have sent that back and had that fixed a long time ago. Why didn't
100%.
they? Why didn't they? Right?
I should have got you to sign the hat instead. Sorry.
Oliver's wearing the vest, which is perfect, by the way.
This is the fake news over there.
I know, fake news. Yeah.
Fake news.
Sorry, Mr. Trump.
Here you go, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President Trump. We love you, man. We love you, Mr.
They
Trump.
rigged this election.
They rigged it like, oh yes, they did. They're not going to do it this time, Mr. President.
They're not doing
They're
it.
gonna try.
Try.
Can you sign this for me?
That's awesome.
And the thing about Trump that a lot of people don't realize is that the construction industry in New York would be nothing like it is today if not by his intervention and helping Giuliani bring down the crooks who were actually destroying the construction industry in New York City. Exposed where all the money was going, everything all the way down the line. So construction workers in New York, I think, have a very, very positive direct connection to Donald Trump, because a lot of those guys would not be working in that industry today if the mob still maintained control of the construction industry.
Yeah, what's your take on that, Oliver? Being an
Well,
iron.
it's funny because our local was run by Sammy the Bull for years, like quite literally. He was the guy showing up at the office. I mean, Gotti was behind it all, but Sammy was the one actually coming to the office and extorting everybody. That's old news. Today, and our union is the only union that Trump did not hire, and that's why my fellow ironworkers, especially the older guys, the guys who came before me, they're very bitter behind that. But they have to understand, and I understand, which is why I don't understand why they don't understand. Trump was in bed with Vinny the Chin at the time, who pretty much controlled all the concrete in New York, and so he had a deal to work with concrete. Now he hired rod busters. They're considered ironworkers as well, but they're not structural ironworkers. So because he built his structures with concrete, we lost a huge opportunity to build, many skyscrapers, with the Trump name on it. It's unfortunate they still hold a grudge, because of that. But right now, as we speak, things are turning around, and I'm starting to wonder if he has a hand in it. And I'm not kidding you. Everyone's position within my local, as far as, the business manager, the recording secretary, the president, so on and so forth, they're all up for not for grabs. They're all being challenged, I should say. So there's a power move right now as we speak being made to replace, the old guard, let's say. So I found it very interesting when they reached out to me and told me what was going on, and I see the key players and who they are. They're America first. These guys, they're about their men. They're about what's right, and not, nepotism and favoritism and so on and so forth. So it'd be interesting to see Donald Trump. I know when he's back, officially, he's got huge plans for New York. This is his hometown. He's not going to allow New York to fall. New York is in dire need of repair when it comes to our roads and our bridges. We need more schools built, new schools, not, schools renovated. And I think he's going to do it. A lot of the skyscrapers that we have now that were built in the last several years, they're not filling up. So there's talk of them being turned into residential buildings, and there's talk of different types of transportation being built, like high-speed rail transportation. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in New York when he's back.
The thing that's concerning about his return, which I believe is inevitable, and I know we all do, but here's the thing: if we're talking about the plan, and we're looking at Trump's being very vocal about when he gets back in, he's going to deport all the illegal, immigrants, and it's going to be difficult to be able to determine who came when and where. So you're pretty much looking at all the undocumented immigrants. And so the deep state knows this. And so they're not going to allow it to happen before they enact their plan. And if their plan is, arming these men that are coming through, I just watched a Fox story last night that showed that there are, all these men coming from Pakistan, from Iran, from China. And we've been seeing this for a long, long time, but they're going to have to enact this before he comes back officially. And so that to me tells me that they're going to have to do something before he's expected to come back as well. Does that make sense?
Well, I think that it's going to be a thing where, it's like he's taking that step back right now so that everybody is seeing a picture clearly without his motivating you to look at this, and this. He is motivating us to more about education, about our vote, and about our local governments, but everything else, he's standing back and he's letting other people make those moves. And I think that it's going to boil down to partly that Biden's administration is going to be the one to start the deportations. And that's it. That's what I'm thinking. And the reason that I'm thinking that is because of the fact that optics, is where do you want the anger going? You want the anger going at those leaving administration and the moves that they made in their final days in order to create mayhem. What can spark off the illegals here? Oh, that the administration who's currently in office and getting ready to leave is now calling for their deportation. They didn't follow through with their promise to us. Does I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. It's like, I think that's where the violence is going to really, really kick off at its highest point, like 2020, but it's not going to be directed at Trump. It's going to be directed at the current administration that is going to be screwing everybody over. And Dave, you're muted.
I like that. I like that theory. It makes sense. It's election year, and this asshat is going to have to pull something out of his ass to get people to vote for him. For the record, I don't believe in any of this shit. But, let's just say that all this is actually happening. I agree with you. He's going to have to do something to get the American people to, even begin to believe that he cares about our country. And that makes perfect sense. I don't believe that there will be the amount of violence that a lot of people are expecting, only because I know that National Guard is already in place. I know for a fact here in New York, and if they're in place here in New York, then they must be in other states. I can't confirm other states. I can confirm here in New York City, Staten Island, and my county, the National Guard is activated, and they are monitoring the illegal immigrants who have been sent here to New York. So it's going to be difficult. I agree. It's going to be difficult to track all of them and differentiate between, who was here prior to and who's coming in now. But keep in mind, they have all been given phones.
And a lot of them ankle bracelets.
Right. So maybe it's not going to be so difficult to
Right.
track them.
Right. Well, there's also the.
Hey, listen, I got one. I'm sorry, guys. I'll see you later on tonight, Dave. All right?
Yeah. Thanks, man. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
guys. Good seeing you all. See you later.
Bye-bye. And I got to wrap this up quickly too.
He's going to stew on that comment. He's going to steal on that comment while he's eating and everything. And then he's going to end up finding something that correlates with that. And he's going to end up talking about it. I'm telling you, I see it already.
Yeah,
You know?
he's going to marinate on that one for a while, I think.
Yeah.
So, there's this vacuum that I worry will be created by the stopping of the money coming to these people, and that's going to, I believe, cause the civil war within the country because of where they are and how they're going to have to go get money and food and whatever they need from American citizens. And of course, that is not going to bode well for the administration. But it also, excuse me, but it also takes us to a point where it causes the chaos and it causes the division, and also is a part of the wake-up call with the rest of America, with the normies.
Yep. It's like that one particular Q post that said, my fellow Americans, at this time, you'll see that we're taking back our country, kind of thing.
Yep.
Nobody ever said that there was Trump who said that, or who is going to say that. So we have to, we have to not get into the mode of assuming that this is Trump doing this. In fact, look at it from every perspective, every single angle. Because if we don't, then we're not seeing the entirety of the big picture, and that's what we've been trying to put together. It's Dave, this is a 100,000 piece, 100,000 piece puzzle, in most cases, we're only dealing with 1,000 piece or a 5,000 or a 50,000, piece puzzle. This is so much bigger, and there are so many intricacies in this, and that's where we get all the little clues about what Q meant by this, what Q meant by that. And I'm telling you, it's there's more to this picture than what people imagine. And
this is why I've always imagined, and it's in more dimension. It's in additional dimension. But this is why I. Holy cow! Is that the wind? Yeah. So this is why I've assumed that it was going to be coming from Trump, because 44 sets us up with, before POTUS departs on Friday, he'll be sending an important message via Twitter, God bless. And then 11 posts later on 55, look to Twitter, exactly this: my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us, God bless. So that's why I went with that assumption, is because these two are so closely related on the same day, by the way, on the same day. From and about, I forget the difference in timestamp, but gents, I gotta jump. I gotta go get my daughter, like Slow did earlier, and but what a great day. I'll let you guys close it out. Hawk, you want to start?
Yeah. I'm going to be doing a podcast here. I'll be coming on in about an hour and going for a few hours. I've got a whole bunch of stuff from X that I want to go through. Guys, in having these conversations, and we do pay attention to you guys in chat. We see the comments that you're making. Understand that the perspective in which we're looking at, is a multi-angle, projection for us, whether it because of military experience or whether because of media type experience. You have to learn to look at everything from every angle. And as you do this and you see those intricacies and you're able to weave them together, your puzzle is going to become more and more complete. Just remember that, everything that we say, pretty much there's a lot of speculation here. No doubt about that. But we're mixing the truth in with that speculation. The things that we see and circumstances and scenarios that could arise because of these things. And, you know, the biggest thing is be not afraid. You know, we were told that 365 times in the Bible. And actually, I think that if all the books were included in that Bible, then we would have even more of that, you know. And if we remember not to be afraid and we talk things out and we do the research, then there's absolutely no reason that we can't look to a bigger, brighter future. And that's what, you know, we want to see for everybody is a bigger, brighter future, not the struggles that we have today. And with that, I'll shut up.
And Flo, go ahead.
All right. So kind of going off what Hawk was saying. Yeah, we try to stitch things together the best we can with what we have. But the biggest thing is don't ever take anybody's word for it, ever. You know, do your own research and stuff like that. Verify what we're saying. If we're wrong, tell us we're wrong. It's just one of those things. We have to be diligent as we're looking at things. We got to be able to discern fact from fiction. We have to be able to look at events and different things that we're seeing through a bigger lens instead of narrowly focusing and staying laser focused on one thing. We have to look at this huge picture, and we have to be able to apply stuff to different things that we've seen over the past God knows how many years, depending on which situation we're talking about, and then look at what we have now. So there's that. And also, Dave, when you were talking about Mueller earlier, I just wanted to bring up, and I brought it up to you before, Wilmer Hale. Mueller came from Wilmer Hale, just like Mayorkas, just like Seth Waxman, just like Judge Nichols.
Elaborate on that for the audience that hasn't heard our conversation about that, please.
So Wilmer Hale
law firm
is this huge law firm, right? And they're in just about every big city across the world. So they're in Berlin, LA, Shanghai, or in China, I think it's Beijing, London, and Chicago, just everywhere. You know, they're everywhere. As a matter of fact, Dave, I'm going to send you this real quick. If you go to the Wayback Machine, and you
Wilmer Hale, by the way,
and if you look, they were actually the Biden Administration Resource Center. You don't see that on our webpage now, though. So it's amazing, you know. And this was on their landing page. So if you'd scroll down from there, I sent you the link for it, Dave.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the private chat. But if you look at that and you're like, wait, what? And you actually go in there, you look at some of their articles coming out. Like there's one in there now.
Look at that. Hold on, let me pull it up. Why doesn't that give me that option here? Let me hold on. Oh, I know why, because I'm on a different there we go. Here it is. This is the Wayback Machine, Wilmer Hale, legal excellence dedicated to clients committed to public service, and Biden Administration Resource Center.
And if you look at that statement below, the impacts of the Biden administration.
Yep. Yeah. Talk about an impact.
so
Yes.
it's about looking at things through, you know, the broader view of different things.
Yep. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah. You know, I think that what we're seeing unfold is to expose everybody, including ourselves. I think it's to expose the bad players. I think it's to expose the bad elements within the truth movement. I think it's meant to expose the bad elements in our own hearts, which we all have. I think it's to expose the way in which we interact with other humans and how we hold ourselves and how we carry ourselves. I think it's meant to expose those who are willing to just take somebody's word for something that they don't know but sounds convincing. And it gets back to the research that you both mentioned. Just challenge what we've said here today. Absolutely. I say that I've said that going back as long as I can remember. Challenge what I say here today. Check the references. Go to the Wayback Machine. Look up Wilmer Hale. Don't just go to our link. See what these people are doing. See what their connections are. Because we have been, indoctrinated from birth and certainly through the education system, that we will give you this bit of information that has been validated by the edification of the person giving it to us, whether it's a teacher or a professor or a parent or a doctor or a lawyer, somebody that has been elevated through the social status of the United States or around the world. And so that's the edification first, and then the giving of the information as fact. And then you take that information and you memorize it and you regurgitate it back to us, and we will grade you based on that, how well you did doing exactly what we told you to do. That is the archaic educational system that was created by Rockefeller, not to inspire, not to create more curiosity, but to create employees. And those were his words. And he was one of the worst people on the planet. And here he gave us our education system. He gave us our medical system. He, kept technologies away that would have gotten us off the petroleum that he controlled. So environmental disasters that we've seen over the years, that could have been eradicated through free energy. This was a horrible, horrible human being that has way too much leverage in our existing infrastructure of humanity. So we've got to break free from this matrix, and we have to do it in the way that we don't take somebody's word for what they're telling us, but we take the information that we're pulling together, pull our emotion out of it, because the information is coming at us at such a confusing pace, at a very negative and threatening and violent pace in content, that we shift to our right brain, which is our emotional brain. And so we don't think analytically from our left brain, or it pushes us into our fight or flight amygdala, and then we're still not able to think analytically because we've got cortisol flowing through us, adrenaline, and we are in the part of our brain that is not made for analytical, logical thought. That is the most important thing, pulling our emotion out of the equation of analyzing the information that's coming across to us. And so with that, my friends, thank you for joining me here today. Slow, great work, man, bringing that stuff today, connecting the Law of War manual with the CFR. If you came in late, which we've got over 1,700, I think, in the house right now. If you came in late, please go back and watch from the beginning. It was very, very powerful, very good connections. that were made between 11.3, 11.4, 11.6 to the Law of War Manual and the CFR documents. So awesome work with that. Hawk, as always, my friend, I've missed you. We got to get back to doing things a little bit more consistently. I've been off the rails a little bit. I'm back on track and looking forward to much more, many more shows with you and with both of you. And also tonight, guys, probably 9:30ish Central Time. I'm going to have Sir Oliver back on, and we're going to go over some of the decodes he's been doing, which have been really, they're ramping up, folks. The communication that we're getting from Q, from Ingersoll Lockwood. I'm going to go over some Ingersoll Lockwood tonight. That gave me the prediction of breaking the piercing of the firmament, gave me the prediction of when that was going to happen. It gave me the prediction of when the certain agency mentioned a disease with the same letter of the platform that Musk has, of when they were going to mention that at Davos, and also the date that was significant, March 31st, when they were going to, something was going to happen related to that. And that was when the transfer happened between the cow and the human of the HN1. So got to be careful with that kind of stuff. I don't want to tank Hawk's or Slow's YouTube or Facebook channel. But guys, please connect with these guys on X. We had dropped those links, so please connect with them. Gentlemen, thank you, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, man. It's been real.
Take care, Dave. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Be well.